But there will be a few strong storms. This is 9 o'clock this morning, a couple of scattered showers, so wouldn't be a bad idea to grab the umbrella and have that with you today. You definitely will need it this afternoon, at least at some point, as some of these storms roll in and roll through starting early into the afternoon, and it looks like more wet weather coming in through this evening as well. So it's going to be a wet day for most of us today. It may not rain continuously, but it will be a overall very wet afternoon and evening ahead. The good news is we are going to dry out just in time for the weekend, but there will be a couple of possible showers for those kids heading to school this morning. Rain likely, so picking up the kids or maybe going to the bus stop this afternoon. Make sure you're prepared for the wet weather, as rain will be likely later on today. So temperatures, no 90s today. We've had 90s the last couple of days. In fact, we're only going to be in the mid 70s for the afternoon, about 80 degrees for a high, which will happen about noontime today. So we say goodbye to the heat, welcoming in some sunshine over the weekend. So more on the storms and the sunshine in the 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you, Jeremy. We'll talk to you then. New information this morning about the man who stormed a Tennessee movie theater on Wednesday, armed with a pellet gun and a hatchet before being shot dead by police. Police say Vincente David Montano had been arrested once more than a decade ago for assault. Officials say the 29-year-old had a history of significant psychiatric issues for which he was committed 4 times. In a missing persons report filed just 3 days ago, Montano's mother told police her son was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic. It comes just a week after a gunman opened fire at a movie theater in Lafayette, Louisiana, killing 2 people. Brian Webb will have more on the attack later on this show.
Residents in Carter County are now just 9 days away from losing a valuable resource in their community. On August 15th, Carter County EMS Director Terry Arnold says he's shutting down rescue squads in both Hampton and Roan Mountain, saying he was forced to do so because county commissioners did not give him the $375,000 increase he says he desperately needed. We asked Arnold what they plan to do about response times when the 15th rolls around and what he has to say to those people who are worried their lives could be at risk.
Is there any way you could keep them open? Because my life in Roan Mountain I could be dead by the time, someone here.
I understand it, but I can only do so much. We will stay on top of that very closely to cut off minutes every way we can.
While the budget is passed, another Carter County budget meeting is scheduled for August 10th, where they are expected to take up funding for the Carter County Rescue Squad once again.
Charges are pending as state troopers investigate a crash that injured 2 mothers and 4 children. Virginia State Police say it happened late Wednesday afternoon on Benhams Road, just north of Goose Creek Road in Bristol, Virginia. Police say a Honda Accord driven by Mia Hawkins got out of its lane and hit a Ford Escape. Hawkins, along with her 12- and 9-year-old daughters, were taken to the hospital for what police call serious injuries. The driver of the Escape, Ashley Blaylock, was also taken to the hospital, as well as her 10- and 16-year-old son and daughter. Troopers also said they received serious injuries.
You can now see the most dangerous intersection in the Tri-Cities in a new report that names the deadliest intersections across the country. The National Coalition for Safer Roads gathered numbers from 2004 to 2013. It found there were around 7,800 fatalities where someone ran a red light. The coalition created a searchable interactive map of red light running fatalities. And here's a look at what the map looks like over the Tri-Cities. It shows 13 red light fatalities involving red lights between 2004 and 2013. Most of them were in Kingsport and Johnson City. There was also one in Greenville and another one in Abingdon.
A former high school vandalized, and now police are trying to find out who is responsible for that vandalism. Pound High School does not have students filling up its classrooms, but the Pound Police Department says it wants to know who caused the damage. Here you can see some of the damage in the doorway in the building. If you have any information that can help Pound Police, please call them at the number at the bottom of the screen.
And as a new school year starts, 4 students at David Crockett High School are preparing for a disciplinary hearing. That's according to Washington County, Tennessee Director of Schools Ron Dykes. Last week, David Crockett High School leaders confirmed 4 students may have been involved in hazing incidents. The hazing allegedly happened at Fellowship of Christian Athletes football camp at Tennessee Tech University. The students were remanded to alternative schools pending the hearings, which are now scheduled for next week.
Just around the corner, it is all business for the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. The boys are taking the field today for their first day of fall practice in preparation for their September 3rd matchup with Kennesaw State. Joining us live this morning from the Gridiron, News Channel 11's Micah Smith with all the details on the Bucs' first day on the field.
Casey, we're just under 30 days until the Bucs return to the Gridiron for the first time in a long time. But while their new stadium is in the works, they're going to be using Kermit Tipton Stadium here at Science Hill High School, and I found out it's going to take quite a bit of coordinating to make this ETSU's home away from home.
From dressing rooms to what time they were going to arrive, who's responsible for what.
2 popular football programs sharing one field can be a balancing act. When East Tennessee State University's football team struck a deal with Science Hill to use Kermit Tipton Stadium for home games, both administrations leapt into action to start the planning process.
We looked at it and we saw that it would work and that it was a good thing for the entire community.
But coordinating 2 different programs' use of the same field is hard. Challenges include changing logos.
There will be some different signage, some different logoing.
Switching out goalposts.
For high school games, goalposts are a different width than they are for college games. We've had to make sure we get the right goalposts in there.
And cleaning up the mess.
We do have plans to not make a huge impact on the field, to leave it the way we found it.
White says every little detail makes a difference.
It's everything from the band on campus to the football team itself to the stadium over at Kermit Tipton. It's really a massive undertaking.
As for Science Hill officials, they see a major advantage to letting the Bucs use their field as a home away from home.
At some point it's going to allow kids from our region, to have another opportunity to possibly play for ETSU. They brought the band program back, so that opens up another door for those band students.
As Kermit Tipton becomes home to high school and college football, fans won't have to go far to get their fix. Science Hill Athletic Director Keith Turner tells me that they've talked to ETSU, and ETSU will welcome Science Hill's sports teams to use some of the university's sports facilities. Turner says Science Hill has already made plans for the Hilltoppers soccer team to use one of those facilities. Reporting live in Johnson City, Micah Smith, News Channel 11 in your corner.
All right, thank you, Micah.